Hello, everyone, and welcome back to English Stories 101. I'm Sid, your host. Today, I have Michael Carter with me. Michael, 3 years ago, you lost everything and became homeless. That must have been incredibly difficult.
Yes, Sid. It was the darkest period of my life. I went from having a successful career to sleeping on the streets in just a few months.
Let's start from the beginning. What was your life like before everything changed?
I was a financial consultant. I earned a six-figure salary, lived in a nice apartment, drove an expensive car. I thought I had life figured out. But honestly, Sid, I was also arrogant. When I saw homeless people on the street, I would just walk past them. I thought they were lazy or had made bad choices.
So you never imagined you could become one of them?
Never, not in a million years. I thought I was too smart, too successful for that to happen to me.
What happened that changed everything?
It was a Tuesday afternoon. My boss called me into his office and said, "Michael, we have to let you go. The company is downsizing." Just like that, I was fired. 8 years with the company, excellent reviews, none of it mattered.
That must have been shocking. But you had savings, right?
I did, and I thought I'd find another job quickly. But the financial industry was struggling. No one was hiring. I sent out hundreds of applications, went to dozens of interviews. Nothing. Months passed. My savings ran out. And then, I couldn't pay my rent. I was evicted. My furniture was sold to pay debts. My car was repossessed. Everything I owned fit into one backpack. At 38 years old, I found myself standing on a street corner with nowhere to go.
What was that first night like?
The worst night of my life, Sid. It was winter and freezing cold. I didn't know where to sleep. I felt scared and ashamed. Finally, I found a doorway of a closed shop and sat down. I couldn't sleep. I was cold, hungry, and terrified. When did you eat next? Not until the next day. I was sitting on the street and an elderly woman stopped in front of me. She asked, "Young man, have you eaten today?" I shook my head. I was too ashamed to speak. What did she do? She reached into her bag and gave me a sandwich and a bottle of water. She said, "Here, take this. Everyone deserves to eat." I started crying, Sid. This stranger, who probably didn't have much money herself, was sharing her food with me. That must have meant everything to you. It did. More than the food, her kindness gave me hope. She made me feel human again.
How did you survive those first few weeks?
I found a shelter that provided beds at night. I stood in line at soup kitchens. I collected bottles and cans to earn a few dollars. It was humiliating, but I was alive.
Did you meet other homeless people?
Yes, and that's when my perspective really changed. I met people who weren't lazy or bad. They were people who had faced terrible circumstances. Job loss, medical bills, family problems, mental illness. Life had knocked them down.
Tell me about one person you met.
His name was Robert. He was 55 and had been homeless for 3 years. He used to be a teacher, but after his wife died, he fell into depression and lost everything. Robert taught me how to survive, where to find food, where to sleep safely. He looked out for me like a father.
Did something special happen with Robert?
Yes. One day we were sitting outside a coffee shop when a businessman dropped his wallet. Robert picked it up and ran after him. "Sir, you dropped your wallet." The businessman was shocked. All the money was still there. Robert could have kept it. Exactly. The businessman asked him that. Robert said, "Because it's not mine. Being homeless doesn't mean being dishonest." What did the businessman do? He asked Robert's name. Then he said, "I own a restaurant 2 blocks from here. Come see me tomorrow. I might have a job for you." Robert got that job. He started as a dishwasher, saved money, and eventually got off the streets.
One person saw his honesty and gave him a chance.
That's right. Robert's story gave me hope. If he could rebuild his life, maybe I could too.
Did other people help you during this time?
Many people. One evening, a young girl, maybe 8 years old, walked up to me with her father. She was holding a paper bag. She said, "Mister, my daddy and I made extra sandwiches. Would you like one?"
That's beautiful.
Inside the bag were 2 sandwiches, an apple, and a cookie. As they walked away, I heard her ask her daddy, "Why doesn't that man have a home?" Her father said, "Sometimes people face hard times. That's why we help when we can." That little girl didn't judge me. She just saw another human being who needed help.
These small acts of kindness kept you going.
They did, Sid. They reminded me that I still mattered, that I was still human.
When did things start to change for you?
After 4 months on the streets, a man named David, who ran a community center, offered me a job, cleaning and maintenance work. The pay was low, but it was a chance.
What did David say to you?
He said, "I don't care about your past, Michael. I care about your future. Show up on time, work hard, and you'll have a chance." Those words meant everything to me.
And you took that chance.
I worked harder than I had ever worked in my life. I saved every penny. After 3 months, I had enough to rent a small room. Just a bed, a desk, and a shared bathroom. But it was mine.
How did you feel that first night?
I cried, Sid. I had a roof over my head again. I felt human again.
Where are you now, 3 years later?
I have a stable job at a nonprofit helping homeless people. I have a small apartment. I have my dignity back. But I'm not the same person I was before.
How have you changed?
I'm humble now. I'm grateful. I understand that anyone can lose everything. And I understand the power of kindness. I volunteer at the shelter where I once slept. I serve meals at the soup kitchen where I once stood in line. You're giving back. I'm trying to, because I know what it feels like to have nothing and to be helped by strangers. Those people saved my life with their kindness.
What would you say to people watching this right now?
If you see a homeless person on the street, please don't look away. See them. Acknowledge them. A smile, a kind word, or a simple sandwich can mean more than you'll ever know. Because I was that person, and someone's kindness saved me.
Michael, thank you so much for sharing your story with us. You've taught us that anyone can face hard times and that small acts of kindness can change lives. Thank you for having me, Sid. Dear viewers, Michael's story shows us that we're all just one crisis away from losing everything. We should never judge people experiencing homelessness. Instead, we should show compassion and kindness. Remember, small acts matter. A sandwich, a kind word, a job opportunity. These things can save lives. So my question for you is, when was the last time you helped someone in need? Don't wait. Do it today. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe to English Stories 101. Be the person who offers kindness when someone needs it most. Thank you for watching. I'm Sid, and I'll see you in the next story. Goodbye.